Hey, so to be honest, I'm feeling a little weird about making a video considering my weird and not particularly good video about eating pizza in Bologna currently has more than 1,200 views, which I actually don't feel great about. I don't want to be a YouTube phenomenon. 1,200 views for me is a YouTube phenomenon, especially not for a stupid little video about me eating pizza. Pretty much no one's watching any of my other videos though, so it'll probably be a flash in the pan. It just feels weird. Anyway, I had kind of a crazy fucking day today. Sorry, they're swearing in this video. So today I went from Ravenna to this tiny little town of Laterina, which is near Arezzo, which is Arezzo. Sorry, I'm trying to say things with an American accent because it sounds so unbelievably pretentious to pronounce things with the Italian accent. It's genuinely not pretentious. It's just that my brain is thinking in Italian when I say Italian names. But so the plan was to stop in a couple places on the way. I made the very ambitious plan of stopping at San Marino, which is an independent country inside the borders of Italy. It's the third tiniest country in the world, I believe. Sorry if I got that wrong. Because Google Maps told me it would be a moderately quick stop. However, Google Maps did not take into account the fact that you can't park in the center of San Marino or the city of San Marino inside the country of San Marino. You have to park and then walk up, and the walk up takes maybe another 20-30 minutes depending on how speedy you are with the hills and how many times you stop to take photos, which I stopped to take a lot of photos. So my quick stop in San Marino turned out to be a 2-hour stop in San Marino because I took a lot of photos and I got some food because I was really hungry, and I went to the bathroom and I took some more photos, and my teacher, Seva, was having a lesson, and so I joined the lesson and did some Zooming, and I mean, San Marino was amazing. I really did not have enough time to spend there. I got there, it was already, I think, 3:30 p.m., and I didn't realize when I arrived how much time was still remaining to get to my room for tonight in Laterina, which was in fact a 3-hour drive from there. And the sun goes down at about 6:30 p.m. right now. It is fully down by about 7, and I had been hoping to get here before dark. That did not work out because I was in San Marino for way too long, and I enjoyed the hell out of it because it's on the top of this very, 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 very high hill. I wouldn't call it a mountain, but it's a very high hill. Perhaps it's a mountain. I'm so not going to have this video be public after all those views. But it's got absolutely spectacular views. There's a couple of beautiful castles. There's a lot of tourist shops. Beautiful narrow streets. I mean, it's a gorgeous stop. I absolutely recommend it. I wish I had the whole day there to explore. I really had to rush through, and I don't feel great about that because the drive to get up there is quite long. Or alternatively, you can park farther at the bottom and take the, I don't know what the word is in English, funicular. You can take the elevated tram. It's not a tram. I can't think of the word. Anyway, you can get there up by other means than driving. However, my fear of heights probably would have made that a terrifying experience for me. So I decided to drive, and anyway, it was beautiful, but I wish I'd had the whole day. And so after that was over, and I'd taken a bunch of pictures and tried to appreciate it despite being super rushed, I had a 3-hour drive in front of me, and the drive from San Marino to this town, which is near Arezzo, is maybe the most spectacular drive I've ever made. It's up and down side of mountains, and it's very, very, very windy, and it was late in the day. It's autumn, in Tuscany, and the sun was going down as I was going around these mountain passes, and it was catching the gold in the trees as the leaves change color. And then I was watching the sunset for a really long time, and it was breathtaking. It was spectacular. It was incredible experience, that drive. I just wish I'd started about an hour earlier than I did, or that the place where I'm staying had been a little bit closer, because for the last hour I was driving in the dark, and that wasn't super fun. Driving in very windy, dark mountain passes isn't something I super enjoy doing at night, and it was pretty stressful for me, and I was also really hungry. And when I finally arrived in the town where I'm staying, it's this tiny little town, and it's the kind of place where the streets are about a foot wider than a car. And I'm not talking about on either side, I'm talking about total about a foot wider than a car. And so driving through here at night when I didn't really know where I was going was also not super fun. And I arrived at this part is crazy. So I arrived at the place where my apartment is. It's above an osteria, which is also owned by the same couple in Osteria. It's like a traditional kind of restaurant with a limited menu. And I get here, and there's a small parking lot outside, but there's no parking spaces. And I don't know what to do. And so I finally am just like, okay, I'm going to have to drive around and find a spot. I found a spot to stop, but it's clearly not somewhere where I can stop for the whole night. And so I stopped there. I walk back to the osteria, and one of the hosts, this man, I think middle-aged man, greets me. He's very, very friendly. He's speaking very quickly in Italian. I can understand most of what he's saying, but every once in a while he leaves me behind. And he's like, just sit down and rest for a bit. My wife will be here in 1 minute, and we'll go move the car. I'm like, okay. So about 15, 20 minutes later, I'm waiting. He insists on making me a coffee, which is actually very nice. But I'm, sitting there like I had hoped to eat dinner. First of all, I had to go to the bathroom because I've been driving for 3 hours. And then I had hoped to eat dinner. And so he's like, it'll be 1 minute, 15 minutes go by, 20 minutes go by. Finally, his wife comes. She's extremely friendly and super, super nice. Also speaking very quickly in Italian, which, I'm working on keeping up with. And basically, he then walks back to the car with me. We proceed to take a drive basically around the entire town while he's telling me piano, piano, like go slowly, or vai, like speed up. And there's one point where he was like, vai. And I mean, literally, it felt like the walls were about 3 inches on either side of the car. And he's like, it's okay, vai. And I'm like, look, I'm American. Our streets are gigantic. This is tiny for me. And he's like, oh yeah, in Italy, everything is small. So finally make it back. He moves this car so I can park where his car is, but it's like blocking the entrance to a building. And he's like, you can't park here all night. You can only park here until 9 a.m. And then you're going to have to move the car again. But you can park here tonight. And I'm like, okay. So he grabs my bag for me. We go inside the osteria, and which is just a few tables inside and a few tables outside. And he's like, we close at 9. It's already about 8:15, 8:30 at this point, because it's taken quite a while to get to the going to my car, moving my car part. And he's like, we close at 9, so you can't really dine in, but if you want, we'll bring your food up to your room. And I'm like, okay. I haven't even seen my room yet at this point. We're actually in my apartment. So he finally he takes my order after just rattling through the menu for me verbally, which I'm just, luckily I looked it up a bit, and I knew what I wanted. He's like, okay, we'll take it up to your room for you so you can dine in peace. I'm like, okay, that sounds nice. So he walks me up. It's a couple of stories up. As we go up, we pass this stone carving, and he says, oh, this is a very old building. It was built by Lorenzo Medici. And I was like, when? And he's like, oh, 1400s. So we get up to my apartment, and it's it's very nice. It's a very large apartment. Um, this is just the main room. There's a bedroom and bathroom. Both of them are quite large. It's freezing cold, though, and I've been eaten alive by mosquitoes on the way. Unfortunately, I should have sprayed myself and I wasn't thinking about it. And I, of course, left the spray in the car. So hopefully there aren't any mosquitoes still in the room, because if so, they're going to destroy me during the night. But so we finally get up to the room and he kind of walks me through the whole room. And then he's like, okay, I'll be back in 15 minutes with your dinner. So I like rush to the bathroom. You know, I've been on the road all day long, and I finally managed to sit down and eat dinner and try and calm down from the stress of that long drive and the long drive in the dark and the uncertain arrival. I mean, travel days for me are always super stressful. I get really anxious. And so there's just a lot of things about this where, I mean, I wanted a genuine, off the beaten path, non-extra touristic experience. And here I am. I'm being eaten alive by mosquitoes. I'm staying in a building built by a Medici. It's beautiful. It's amazing. I feel really, really lucky to be here. But also, I'm exhausted. I had an amazing day. I had an exhausting day. I'm going to go take a shower and drink a little more wine and try and go to sleep. I wish I had someone here with me. It's such a big apartment. And I think when I was making these reservations, I didn't realize quite how lonely it feels and to be in such a giant space. I mean, it's just in these country towns right now during COVID, it's actually cheaper a lot of the time to rent these giant apartments than it is to rent a room and stay in an Airbnb. But it feels very big and very empty for just me. So I'm gonna work on appreciating the fact that I have this giant place all to myself and drink some wine. And tomorrow morning I get to get up. I have apparently an amazing view, which I haven't gotten to enjoy yet. I'm gonna move the car somewhere in this town before the police give me a ticket. And maybe tomorrow I get to drive to Siena and do a little sightseeing. And yeah, that's it for tonight. Long video because I had a long story. And till next time.